Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you guys how I go about making a lamp. A couple years ago I used to make a lot of lamps for craft fairs and little trade shows and everything. I made small lamps. I made medium lamps. Then I made big lamps. But today I'm not going to make an ordinary lamp, as in something that sits on top of a dresser or a desk or something that sits on the floor. I'm going to make wall sconces. When we designed this house, we had this hallway right here. As you can see, there's two plastic plates that are on the wall, and it's covering up two boxes that we had the electrician put in there. So these are already wired up, and they go to this switch right here. See, this one here doesn't work, this one here does. Okay, as you can see from all the pictures I just showed you a little bit ago, I make lights, lots of different lights. Just whatever I have laying around, sometimes I have to buy some of this stuff to make it all work. But the first thing that goes in for making a light for me is I have to figure out what my base is going to be. Sometimes I just start out with a piece of wood like this here, just a piece of oak. I'll cut it to a certain size, maybe put some kind of a weird stain on it or something, little felt pads on the bottom. But for this wall sconce, I don't want to use a piece of wood. I need something that I can screw into that electrical box that's in behind those covers. Well, that box that's in that wall that the electrician put in is the same one that's outside any door of my house. And what goes outside a door? A porch light. So I'm going to take this porch light, and I'm going to remove this base off of here. But for right now, all I need is this part here, because it will screw into that box that's inside that wall. And I have the metal hardware here, so this here can go on the wall, and then just this base here will go on the wall. Then once I kind of figure out the base, I'm looking at the end design in my mind, and I got to figure out, what kind of light socket do I want? There's a lot of light sockets out there. There's a kind, where you can push through, the little push through and click. They have the little twist things. They got three-way lights. But this here is going to be hardwired. I'm not going to use what's basically known as lamp cord and put a plug in on the end of it and plug it into a wall. So since it's going to be a wall sconce and I'm going to be using black pipe fittings or anything, I went with this, found it on Amazon. Has a ceramic inside of it. This is pretty heavy for what it is. It's kind of like an antique brass or bronze fitting. And I thought, well, hey, that'll look good on there against that, that blackish pipe. But then I got to decide on a light bulb. I'm going to go with one of these tube lights right here. I think that'll look nice. So the light will look like this here. Okay, well now that I have the mounting, the mounting thing for the light, which would be the base, I have to figure out what do I want to do with just this little cone that's going to come out here. So I went over to my scrap pile and I found all these nice little black fittings over there that had kind of rusted away a little bit and everything. And here's like a whole handful of stuff right here. I'm going to take all this stuff here. I'm going to take this base that's on this lamp right here, or this light, porch light, and I'm going to make a wall sconce out of it. Okay, to get this base off here, I'm going to have to drill through the bushing on here. I thought these things would probably screw out. So you can see I'm going to pull these wires out of there. And I'm going to mount it here in the vise. And that looks to be about like a 3/8. Ought to do that, yeah. Go. And we have one mounting base. Okay, I don't think this is an actual paint on here. I think it's probably something like a powder coat that's on there. So I'm going to take the wire wheel on my grinder here and just kind of knock it down, get some of that shine off of there. Because when this mounts to the wall, I want this to look old. You know, kind of, I don't know, called antique or aged or relic, whatever you want to call it. I just don't like this finish. Well, I got a little lucky. It looks like it's taken some of it off down to the metal. But I still need to go more. Okay. Kind of what I'm going for, but while I was doing this, I did have another idea what I could do on this. So the idea I had was, hey, why don't I get my orbital sander out? Got some, it was 80 grit. But it's been wore down a little bit, so it won't tear it up too much. But I thought about just going over this a little bit more. I'm trying to get down to show some of the metal out, because I just had a great idea. That's what I'm aiming for right there. Just get some of the metal showing through right here. Because I just had a good idea when I was over there wire wheeling this, what else I could do to this to give it some age. Okay, what my aging secret is on this, you know, it was black. I removed some of it, got it down to, you know, where some metal showing through. And so what I do is I sprinkle vinegar on it. Now what's vinegar gonna do? It's gonna give it, it's gonna rust it. It takes a while to rust it, but given some time, it will turn the silver parts, which are metal, into a rusty looking surface. So when I get done with the light, I will put a satin clear coat over it, and this here will really, it'll come out really neat. I've done this on other things before, and it's just a neat little way to make things look old. I can't afford old stuff, so I make new stuff look old. Okay, on some new pipe, when you buy them, the fittings and everything, like these nipples right here are the ones that are really what I'm talking about. It comes with a really hard coating on there. There's some writing on there. And you just can't do much with it. It doesn't look pretty or anything. So I take brake cleaner and clean that off there. Then I'll take these and all these fittings, because they do have a little bit of rust on them. I'll take these over to the wire wheel again, and I'll brush them off and get them cleaned up and looking pretty nice. So I'm going to get that done and I'll be back. Okay, I now have these all cleaned up. A lot of them have oil. Some of the newer ones have oil, a little bit of oil on them. That gets that wire brush gets all that taken out. Hey, let's look at that canopy part. The base of the lamp is going into the wall. See what it looks like. Wow, not bad. Before assembling, I like to set everything out so I can just kind of see what it's going to kind of look like. You know, this part right here will screw into here. And then this here is going to screw into that. And this here is going to screw into the canopy. There'll be a washer and a nut that'll go back here, and that there will hold the lamp to the wall. Then this here is going to screw into the T. So that'll be like that. And of course that will be in there. And then that there screws into the canopy. And this here is going to screw into the bottom of the T. Then it's going to come into a 90. And then a short nipple, another 90. And then a bushing. This here is a 1/2 by 1/8 inch bushing. The bottom of this socket right here has an 1/8 inch nipple in it, the same size as this one right here. But once I get the wiring and everything put into here, that will screw onto there. Then out of the top of the T, this here is just going to kind of be a area in the pipe that's not used for anything, except I am going to put this gauge on top of it. And for that, I have a 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch, and the gauge will screw right into there when it's all done. So for right now, let's get all this stuff here out of the way, because we're going to have to wire up this socket. Normally I would just use like an 18-2 lamp cord, like the brown stuff that I showed you earlier, but I've come to find out that this socket here is not a normal socket. This here is something like I would normally use. The top here would screw off of it. This would come out, and you can see that there's screws there on the side that you just twist the copper around and just put the screws in. This one doesn't work that way. So I'm going to have to take it apart from the inside. As you can see, I'm going to try to place this. There's some screws on the top and bottom there. And I'll take those screws out, and that'll allow that porcelain socket to come out of there. Okay, so it is now out. I'm trying to get that little bracket out down there. Okay, there we go. Since I'm not going to be using a normal lamp cord, I'm going to use 14-2 house wiring. That is what the wire is behind those covers in there. So this wire will hook right, it'll just wire nut right up to it. Okay, so for this wire here, I'm going to cut these ends off, make them as straight as possible. Because as you can see on this here, if that'll focus in, you don't twist the wire around any screws. You're going to cut out those little, hopefully they'll show up. I'll have to back out a screw on each side of there and then put the wire down in there and just tighten it up. So I'll put this in there. I guess if you're talking automotive, this here would be your positive wire, it would be your red wire. Okay, you see I got those connected. But now I need to run this over the wires so I can attach it into the lamp socket. Have to kind of bend those just a little bit to get that, so I can get this down. Okay, now I have to put these screws back in there, so I'm going to get one in there. Yeah, this takes a lot longer than that other style socket. Okay, now I'll thread these back through there. And what I'll do is I'll hold the porcelain socket and we'll screw it back down. This here is where if you're very, very careful, you can take the light bulb and use it to hold the socket and screw it back in. Tighten this little retaining screw down on that nipple, and then screw the bulb back out. Okay, now that we got this part here done, we're going to thread it into the bushing. Thread it into here. And screw the light on. Don't need that tool anyways. Hold that there and just real easy, just tighten it down on there. So it's nice and flush like that right there. It's got to run through a 90. Then take it and screw it on there. You're going to have to allow the wires to rotate while you do this. Doesn't hurt anything, you just let them rotate while they're in there. Now this doesn't go in very far. And now's when you got to have a pipe wrench. You get the pipe wrench on there. And you take a crescent wrench again, and you hold that fitting and you just turn it. It don't have to be really, really tight. Just tighten down so no one can undo it with their fingers. Then you got to slide the closed nipple on. Okay, there we go. Got that on there. Now we'll tighten that in when we put this 90 on the other side there. Okay, I got it down there. Just let the wires twist as you go. What I try to do is I try to hand tighten the best that I can. And then take it and tighten it. And you want to line it up because it does have to be, you know, looking down this way here. It's got to be, I guess what you call perpendicular or whatever with the main light when it's done. Okay, next up, I'm going to put the short nipple on here. It'll be pretty easy. Just take it and you can hand tighten it. And then, once you get that, tighten it in there. Okay, the next item that goes on is going to be the T. Now the wires have to come up through the bottom of the T and then come out through the side here. Now I really don't want to run the wires there and then screw this on and twist it around because I don't think that's going to be good on the wires. So I'm going to loop these wires. And then I'm going to screw this on. Okay, there's going to... Well, sometimes you got to put this stuff in a vise, so I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, sometimes, you know, you'll be screwing these on, you'll get as hand tight, you can get as tight as you can by hand, and it just, you can't turn it anymore, and you can't get leverage enough to turn up the pipe wrench, so you have to go over and put this into the bottom, or put the bottom of this into a bench vise, and you can turn it and get it lined up. I just got to figure out which wires here is the loose ends. As you can, I don't know if you can see in there or not, but I don't know if it'll show up. But now I can take those, grab it with a needle nose, and start pulling that through. You got the wires there. Now I just got to get them straightened up because they still have to go through a very small hole. What I've done here is I've taken the, let's call it an eighth inch nipple and put in here. You can buy this as a kit with different sizes in it, or you can actually buy 3 foot long pieces and just cut off what you need. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to thread the wire through this little hole here. Screw that bushing into right there. And tighten it down really, really good. Okay, at this part, whenever I'm building a light, I've got the wires wired to the socket. I got them coming down around here, up here and into there. I like to check to make sure that I haven't scraped that wire anywhere in there to where it could be touching this metal, because I don't want to get shocked when I hook this up and then have to take it all back apart again. What I usually do is I take a voltmeter and I put it on the ohm setting. I like to, check the continuity. Hopefully you guys, I don't know if you can see that in there or not. But what I'll do is I'll touch the wire here, and then I'll touch the lamp. And I can tell that there's no, it's not making any, it's not continuous anywhere, so I know that that wire has not been scraped anywhere and touching bare metal. Now let's check this wire here. We'll touch it there, and it doesn't. And I can check it right there and see that, it does zero out when I touch the appropriate place in there, like that outer ring right there. Okay, up next will be just the top part of the lamp that really doesn't do anything except hold a gauge that is actually non-functional, more of just something to look at. But I'll hand tighten all these. Then we'll take this gauge and put in here. And then we'll screw it onto here. Now what I'll do is I'll just turn this here to bring it around the front, and as I do, it'll tighten all the rest of these up just a little bit more. One more tweak. There we go. Pretty much. That's just the lamp right there. Okay, as you've been seeing, if you stayed with me this long, you've been watching this here getting that little rusty, crusty finish on it. This here is going to be the part that mounts to the wall. So we got to take these wires, and it's going to go over that nipple right there. Then I'm going to take a washer, put over that, and then a little nut. You can buy these nuts in packages too, at Lowe's, Home Depot, online. Take it, screw that down in there, then take a socket. Most of the time you have to use a deep well for something like this. But I take that socket and tighten it really, really, really good. Now we got one lamp, or light. We're ready to go. Well, as you can see, I got the socket and the gauge taped off and everything. Got some Krylon satin clear enamel. It'll put won't be a really shiny clear coat on there, but it'll be enough to protect it. I don't put much on. Just get that base covered really good, because I got it rusting. This here will cut the oxygen off of it, and it will stop it from rusting. That's good enough. Well, that's going to do it for now. Video is taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off right here. And in the next video, I'll show mounting the lights to the wall inside the house. I just want to thank everybody for watching. If you stayed this long, I have linked down in the description a lot of the little gadgets and products that I used in this video. You can click on those and see them. And until next time, see ya!